audience? Have an audience? Okay.
Maybe move closer so.
Yeah, this side of it. So you're
Yeah. Want to go and get started, guys? Cool. So Microsoft Research OData. I'm going to walk through a few things first. I'm going to talk about the problems we're trying to solve and what led us to publishing an OData service. Second, I'm going to just briefly walk you through what's in the service, kind of stuff you query for. And then three, I'm going to show you a very primitive app that I wrote in the last session. Again, it's very primitive. I just feel like for a conference like this, you got to download something. It's not worth it. So when you talk about problems that we were trying to solve, a lot of it was based on the way we think about our website. If you go to research.microsoft.com, you will see output from our division from Microsoft Research. And that might include researcher videos, researcher papers, researcher downloads, researcher projects, and the people themselves. We're sort of unique at Microsoft when you think about web presence, and that we really do pivot everything around the people in the division. So people is a prominent facet for our site. But the thing that we often got asked all the time was, hey Frank, could we get a snapshot of your data? We'd like everything that you're publishing out to research.microsoft.com so that we can consume it in our space and mash it or whatever. And that was a tricky challenge. We're obviously not going to give people SQL snapshots or send big XML files, although we tried a couple of times. So we were looking around thinking, what's a really good sort of future-proof platform that we could build a public version of our data set? And this is where OData kind of fell into that. And one of the things that it solved for us was that it gave us not only a semantic protocol, a semantic layer that others could pretty easily query and really kind of leverage as they want to mash up in their own world, but it also allowed us to publish something that was very open. We have a mission beyond my peer at MSR. She works for VP Tony Hay. Tony is really, really passionate about open data, about public data, especially in the academic space, that there shouldn't be restrictions. You shouldn't have authentication. You shouldn't force people to license this kind of data. So OData served a lot of those kind of needs and solved those problems for us. The other thing that it helped us do was getting it out in a semantic form really played in the web space, because that's where we do a lot of our experimentation and innovation is in the web space. And so what we wanted to try and do is not only have something that was public and open, but something that was going to be very friendly when we think about the modern read-write web. And so that allowed us to say, okay, by using OData, because it's semantic, it's really easy for us to think about how do you build jQuery clients for it, or how do you write Windows Phone apps, or how do you move into an HTML5 world. So that was another thing that was pretty cool. What's in the data set? Let's talk about that for a second. As I said earlier, the core of the way we pivot the data is around the people at MSR. So when you think about people, people becomes not only a way to think about the researcher or the member of MSR who might be working on a particular project, but it also means the relationship to all the other entities that live in the data set. And this is where we have kind of an interesting notion of graphs. So let's imagine you have research in the middle. Our graph includes the videos that they publish, includes the papers that they publish, includes the downloads, because we actually do experiment with a lot of stuff. And you look at Jan's team, they push out a lot of bits to research.microsoft.com. There's a lot of stuff that you can download and install and experiment with data. So that's another piece of the graph. Another part is the projects themselves, because we're always in this sort of research and experimentation mode. We want to be able to publish what we're doing in a project space. The groups themselves, because you have so many different research areas. Remember, Microsoft Research is all over the planet. We have a lab on every continent now. I think, yes. I think we have just about a lab on every continent. So we have groups spread across the planet covering a lot of different research areas. So there's another part of the graph. Another part of the graph is the events. Again, shout out to Jan's team. They drive a lot of events worldwide. They're crossing the planet and saying, let's gather a bunch of people together, let's talk about collaboration in the academic space. We needed to include all of this stuff inside of our OData data set. So let's talk about where it is.
It just knows the things that are together, so it knows filter.
The URL
or the buy.
is pretty simple. It's
There's
OData, research,
it does know that.
Microsoft.com.
Basically, like recognize the
guys for
keywords,
my
the white
awesome
spaces,
writing.
and everything else is.
If you go to that site, you'll see not only an FAQ to help you get started, help you understand what's in the data set, but we'll show you a handful of sample queries that you can run so you can start to dive in.
Add a model to this.
The other thing that you can do there is start to give us feedback. When we look at OData V3, some awesome features coming out of that team. We're now kind of wrapping our brains, and one of the reasons I'm here is how do we want to rev our version of OData to try and incorporate some of those things. And I'm going to break out from the kind of second half of this talk and talk a little bit about vocabularies and a little bit about social and a little bit about actions, because that's one of those areas that we're thinking really hard about. When we think again about collaboration for what's going on in MSR and collaboration against our OData set, we're reluctant to build a bunch of actions into our OData set when in fact those actions might be better served coming from the social networks. If we have the social networks liking or sharing or commenting or doing all those cool social things on our data set, I don't really want to build that into the data. So that's something we'll have to think about. In terms of just what you can do with it, I built a really primitive app in the last session. If you've got a smartphone, why don't you go to this URL and go to rmc.cloudapp.net.
So yeah, the other.
What I've done in this app is I've taken a snapshot of videos from the last time we attended one of these conferences, which was the University of Washington High School. They did an info camp session last fall when we launched this. I've done a filter by University of Washington's videos. I've parked that snapshot up on Azure. And then I've basically done just a really simple skinning of it. So you should be able to see that snapshot of videos with University of Washington, parked on Azure, skin, so it should flow pretty easy.
This was the idea that
your
you
smartphone.
basically have two OMs.
One more time, it's rmc.cloudapp.net.
You could customize the translation.
And RMC, by the way, stands for research.microsoft.com. It's kind of our acronym for the website.
And this was kind of like maybe.
It's really primitive. Just wanted to give you an idea of what you can do. Cloud-based client, nothing fancy. But if you go back to, say, the Data Explorer talk earlier, it would be pretty interesting to say, let's go out and find some, if you will, related data, do a mashup with MSR's OData service, and see what sort of analysis we can derive from that. Or to create our own graph visualization kind of experience.
Data services does that.
But the problem with this is.
So let's talk about the social graph in a minute.
A little bit provider specific. So it's kind of tricky to do generate.
One of the things that we'd like to be able to do is to really empower the notion of the crowd, the notion of the followers of MSR and research, and especially the collaborators that Jan and her team are driving across the planet, to be able to not only do the usual social like, comment kind of stuff, but build on those collaborations to form almost micro communities around a particular area. So let's imagine Let's pick a topic. Just throw me a topic.
A social?
Yes. Just any of your
Oh,
science topics.
environmental monitoring.
Okay, cool.
Participate.
All right. So environmental monitoring. What we could do with our OData service is we could pull out some papers. We could pull out some videos. We could pull out some downloads.
This link has the problem that it's really all over.
Yeah,
Some
so it is
events.
designed to be backed by SQL, and it allows
It'd be pretty easy to create a flat list. Here's a bunch of stuff from MSR in this category, and specifically, here's the different entities that come out of that category. But that's not really that interesting in and of itself. It's kind of static. What would be alive to really turn it on fire is if you could say, now, take all of this and slice it with the different people across the planet that are either in this space or they're interested in engaging in this space. And you can now start to form the graph of those people and their activities. The challenge with this, of course, is we don't want to build this into the service. It doesn't make sense to build this view into the service. Instead, we'd rather mash up somehow, some way, with everybody who's interested in this space and their activities, and then just push that back out. And maybe this is a set of apps. Maybe these are mobile apps. Maybe these are desktop apps. Doesn't really matter, but we really want to get to this. But as everybody knows, it's super hard to do this. I'll pick on one in a Facebook space because they're pretty locked in about their social graph. You can't just go out and grab whatever you want and mine their platform for, say, this slice right here. They kind of lock everything down to, okay, Frank, for your profile, yeah, we'll give you the insights OData snapshot for Frank Martinez. But if Frank wants to go mine Facebook's platform for everything related to environmental monitoring, really, really difficult to do. Even further to say, I want to take everything on Facebook related to environmental monitoring, and I want to show all the people, and I want to show what all of those people are doing, whether they're posting to their wall, connecting to their networks, et cetera, et cetera. Take this even further. Imagine I wanted to do it in a more professional, if you will, kind of network like LinkedIn. Again, super, super difficult. You cannot do that. So this is one of the areas that we're going to continue to explore, how to solve that kind of problem, because we want this view into this kind of list, people and activities, but it's difficult to do if we have to rely on those other networks and platforms. I'm going to open it to discussion. Any thoughts on this, how we might solve this?
Semantic web is trying to solve exactly many of those problems by having federated Spark queries across global database. So that could solve many of those problems.
going back to
But there was some talk about federated OData as well. It could be something you could try to explore options like that, I think. To try to build something that in OData.
Yeah, what's the problem that we observe in this space is the data sharing. So we're talking about globally how people are observing the environmental changes. They use different sensor networks, they use different hardware, and share the data format. So it's hard to aggregate them. As users, they don't want to worry about that, but they do want to contribute. So this kind of research really enables that kind of data sharing and aggregation. And the participant citizens can choose to become knowledgeable about how it works, or they can just choose to contribute, provide data, and without asking how exactly it's making the world better. So yeah, I'm waiting for your data store from this.
It's hard. We want to get there, but it's really, really hard.
So you mentioned one of the problems in doing this is just the data is locked down, right? Facebook is not making available some of the information you needed. And it seems like that's not a technical problem, and it's no better solved by RDF and Sparkle queries than it is by OData, than it is by CSV or anything else. It's more of a social aspect of providing enough value to Facebook in participating in this more global view of the world to incent them to unlock that data.
Could be, yeah. Actually, so right now it's locked by doing what we're doing, but perhaps we help unlock the data that's already existing. So it's not like we wanted to create the data from scratch. It's more of unlock it and so that they can be accessed and discovered and then shared.
And to do that, of course, we have to provide enough value to those who are currently locking the data to allow them to relax.
Right, and then the value of all data that we have seen so far is just simple. It's based on HTTP. That's the thing that I use all the time. It's based on HTTP. Who doesn't know HTTP? If you know how to query a piece of information using URL, you know how to query a piece of data using OData. So that's the whole essence of it.
Anything else? Any other thoughts on?
One of the other issues is Facebook in particular. They have privacy issues with loans that they have. They don't want their private data out there. They don't want the fact that they are looking at killthewhales.com, or those type of things. They don't want those things published. They want it for their own little group. So how do you handle the fact that Facebook is trying to respect that, they don't, in a sense, and allowing, or do they make it an anonymous type data set to come out and say, this could be a killer feature in the world. Too many people are looking at how to kill whales or something like that. I mean, it's something that would environmentally handle.
Well, I guess we're not excluding people to have that data on Facebook. We're just encouraging them to share or unlock so that the data
But it would
becomes
have to be
not
an
just
opt-in by the user.
Right. So
Well, and like Facebook already has, just show my friends versus show everybody versus different
You'd
groups.
have to
So
opt in to saying, allow this to go to Microsoft Research, or allow this to be external to Facebook.
But is this kind of data that you have on Facebook? I don't think so. Most, at least the friends I have, they don't do work-related stuff on Facebook, and environmental monitoring and papers you have written and so on. That's.
it goes
I
with.
think that's, for example, that could be mined from, for example, more standards organizations where they publish papers and so on. If they publish their information in open format, that could easily be mashed up with the OData feed here.
I think every network's different. I mean, I'll pick on mine for a second. I actually do have a lot of friends that talk about this. Because I have a lot of friends who are activists, and they're out there writing books, they're writing papers, they're marching, they're doing this kind of stuff. So I actually do see a lot of this.
Yeah, when BB oil spill
I
happens,
see
you can get a
people
lot.
both ways. I see a lot of people with a lot of environmental stuff. I see people without environmental stuff. I mean, I see activists, political activists. I get all kinds of those type of things on Facebook, even if I don't want them. And what I don't really like is the search stuff that's on there that shows things. You might like this, even though you had no interest in it. It's only because one of your friends does, which is something that you'd want to basically not infer upon a person something that wasn't applied to them directly.
Sure. And that's that boundary we have to be very careful.
That's right.
Alex, since you're sitting here and you're paying attention for a minute, I'm going to pick on you. Reading in actions for a second. So when I think about the social people activities, these are the actions that we're kind of wrapping our brain around. How do we think about actions related to the likes, the comments, the sharing, all that kind of stuff? I don't want to build what the social networks already do really well. When we think about building actions into our MSR or data set. What are your thoughts on that?
The user is looking at that model and constructing a very
Don't have a lot of thoughts. We're not really sure what you're doing.
execute against that model, and as it relates to that, I'm constructing a
Maybe if you tell me more about what you're building.
Well, I'll borrow the Netflix example. So with Netflix, you might think of an action as rate. Rate a movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's an action.
We actually
Take that to the next level, and you think about all these social activities. I'm doing more than rating. I'm commenting. I'm liking. I'm sharing. I'm doing all the things you see be SMT really well. But does that mean you as an OData producer should build those actions into your data set, or just leverage what other platforms already do as well?
So actually, let me take it in a different direction. One of the things that I think actions would allow you to a certain degree, and it's not complete, it doesn't take you all the way, is it would allow you to look at, say, Facebook through an OData lens, and then look at their graph through that lens. And so see the actions that they have, things like that, and go, okay, well that's an OData action, which takes these parameters, just a basic comment, it takes like a string, right? In terms of what you recommend for the person building their own service, that really depends on the goals, right? Like, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to replace Facebook? Are you trying to live alongside Facebook? Are you trying to convince Facebook to connect to you? Are you going to create a Facebook plugin or whatever they call those things? If you are creating a Facebook plugin, are your actions kind of a way to, the ones on your OData service, a way to route things through to your Facebook plugin so that the data ends up in the right place? That's where you really want it to go. But you have this kind of facade which is OData oriented to make it easier for OData people to connect. And it just kind of propagates back to the social graph in the long run. So many options.
But yeah, but those are good ideas to think about and pursue one of those options.
What do you think?
I think we have a general sense that there's a lot of activity going on the social networks, in a better way. There's a lot of conversations going on in the social networks that relate to our work at MSR. And what we're trying to do is make a connection between the things that we publish on research.microsoft.com, our OData service, with those conversations. Let's imagine, just for example, that in a handful of networks, let's say 100 people that happen to know about MSR or happen to have friends that work at MSR, that there's 500 wall posts and likes and shares and all these other different things. We'd like to be able to say, can we make a connection to topics like this? So picking environmental monitoring, if of those 500, a good 60 or 70% are actually actively sharing and commenting and liking and other things like that, how do we make that connection so that we can express that collaboration is occurring and really drive more of it? It's not to just show it as a one-time event, but we want to create more of it. We want more collaboration to occur. Because one of the things that Jan will tell you, she's the expert more than I am, but collaboration drives breakthroughs. When you get people collaborating and working together, that's when you have breakthroughs in science. And so we're trying to drive that more and more. But it doesn't make sense for us to try and do it by creating one-off networks. We don't want to be in that business. We're never going to recreate Facebook, nor should we. But we should leverage it as much as we can to drive collaboration, to see where we can expose that, make it even more rich.
So you're thinking that maybe you have this OData service or something like that that is a facade over data that's in your data that's in Facebook's graph, or
that's an interesting way to think about it. If you look at the Insights service as an example, but it's tricky because, as we've already talked about, they lock everything down so severely.
So
because it's an ambiguous.
So there's two ways to kind of look at this, right? There's the getting it into Facebook and then the getting it out of Facebook. The facade is really useful for if people go through your facade and it ends up in Facebook, and you're happy with Facebook and see it being read-only, right? Then you own all the data as well, right? You don't have to get it out again. But of course, people will go to Facebook and make the edit there as well. So how do you make it bi-directional? And I'm just not familiar enough with Facebook.
Probably
It's a
more
road
about
hotel, right?
unlocking users' motivation from the first place. They used to be we just dump everything to the garbage, one big trash can, right? Now we put recycle this partner thing, recycle this and that. So when a person go dump the garbage, he actually makes a conscious selection or something. So I'm hoping that when this person go, say something on Facebook, he consciously say, oh, actually this can contribute to environmental monitoring just by one extra half mile or something like that. And then the data is shared not only on Facebook but also some other applications. But that other application has to be made really easy for them to use. See how easy it is when made for people to recycle things.
And maybe that extra step is just a tag.
And then you have to make it like a fashion to do that.
As a game engines that work inside Facebook.
Somebody writes
Like
that way this
you have these games that work on the Facebook platform.
There's no way to run
Your game is not a game, right? But if you leverage the
just by
same
looking at the expression.
capabilities that they give game authors, you get the same benefits out.
Yes.
It's tricky, but
I mean, maybe it's a new extensibility that we request from Facebook.
Yeah, but I think
right?
it's all there if you think of the exercise as writing a game.
But I think what they're saying is, I'm just doing my regular post. I'm going through the existing mechanisms to do a post. And I just want to tag what I already do. I don't want to do something different. I don't want to have to post in a new way
Right.
in order to use this
It's not
game,
gonna happen.
which is sharing. Right?
Yes.
So isn't like I hear you, but like I don't know, you're using Facebook at all these days. You get this whole like you click on a link and suddenly this app has posted something on your behalf, and because you click on a link for like Guardian News or something, and Guardian News suddenly wants to be trusted by you, and then you're like, well, what is that going to do? Isn't this the same sort of thing though? Like I get that you don't really want to do something different, but if you put your stuff inside Facebook in a meaningful way, it just happens naturally anyway, right? Like people click links and that becomes like, and then your application knows about it, right? It gets written to their graph, your application's graph. And
Yeah,
I know it's not the same as like I just want to write a comment, but it is. It seems that it's kind of rich enough that people are living with it anyway, and it's also more than rich. It's kind of nefarious, right? It kind of like sucks you in. Like,
Yeah, I think the difference is a starting point, whereas with all the games and stuff, somebody has installed the game and started playing it, and that's posted things on their wall that you react to. And by then clicking on those posts, those have the links that keep you in the game. And that's how you end up getting all the stuff you never expected because you clicked on something you didn't know what the heck was going to happen. Whereas what we're talking about here is, I don't want to know there's a game or be playing a game or start with something that already exists. I just want to do a new post. And as part of that, there's a little tag there that I can click to say, by the way, this post, in the same way I can tag it with the location or the people in it, I can tag it as an environmental monitoring entry. Then that helps me contribute without thinking about it with a very low bar of entry.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, we use Facebook just as an example. Could be other social media.
Okay, so I hate to interrupt, but we're sort of out of time for this session. We can still continue this conversation, but we should do it in a different location. Because we have another session here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Frank.